Sometimes you have a brick and mortar business or possibly a home business which wants an e-commerce site, and they already have all of their product records in an existing database. So today we're going to be talking about how to transfer product data from a Microsoft Access database to a WordPress e-commerce site that's built with WP e-commerce and Storefront Elegance, and that's from storefrontthemes.com. There's 3 steps to this. The first is to create the query, and secondly to export the products using the query to a text file. It's a delimited, comma delimited text file, and finally to import the text file into the website. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is log in. And now we're in the WordPress admin area, and I'm going to take a look under products categories to make sure that we have a category to import to, because we're going to be importing into a category called Amber and I see that we do have that category. If we didn't have that category here already, we'd have to create it before we do the import. Next, I'm going to go down to Settings, Store, and I'm going to select the Import tab. And this shows you the order in which you have to present the columns in your import file. So description, additional description, product name, price, SKU, weight, weight unit, stock quantity, is limited quantity. Ordinarily, WP e-commerce expects a CSV import file. What we're going to be actually doing is exporting to a text file in Microsoft Access, because it doesn't offer an option to export to a CSV file, but that text file for all practical purposes will be a comma delimited file, just like a CSV file. So next I'm going to go to Microsoft Access, and we're going to open the table that we're going to import from, which is called Amber and you'll see that the columns in this table are not in the same order as the columns that are shown up here: description, additional description, product name. And in addition to not being in the same order, we actually have quite a few additional columns that are not needed in our e-commerce site. So these may be tables that are necessary for the brick and mortar business but are not necessary for the, maybe columns that are necessary for the brick and mortar business but not necessary for the e-commerce business. So I'm going to take this table, and now I'm going to create a query for it. I'm going to go to Query Wizard and Simple Query Wizard, and now I'm presenting the fields over here. Available fields are the fields that are in the table, and I'm going to move only the fields that I need for the query over here in the selected fields, and I'm going to move them into the correct order. I'm going to time this just so you see how easy this is to do. So I'm going to start with description, because that's our first field up here, and then additional description, and then product name, price, and SKU, weight, and weight unit. So I'm going to do product name, price, SKU, weight, weight unit, and then finally stock quantity and is limited quantity. So stock quantity is limited quantity, and I'm going to go on to next, and basically I could have pressed finish, because we're going to accept all the defaults in this process. So I'm just going to click finish. I'll have my final query, and you can see that we're in the correct order: description, additional description, product name, price, so on and so forth, just like we are up here. And I'm going to click the stopwatch, and that took 56 seconds to create that particular query. Now I'm going to export this query to a text file, so I have to go up here and change tabs to the External Data tab. I'm going to be going down into the Export section, and I'm going to be selecting Text File. Now I've already got the directory set up that I want to export this text file to, but you want to make sure that when you export this text file that you know exactly where it's going, because otherwise you'll have to do it all over again if you can't find it. So it's important to be able to find the things you create. And we're going to accept the defaults throughout this entire process, so we're not going to check any checkboxes. I do want to replace the existing file. And I have down here, this is basically the layout that we're going to see. You can see this is comma delimited text, which is very similar to the kind of format you'd see in a CSV file. And going to next, we're just accepting the defaults for all this. And finally, this shows the directory that I'm going to be putting this file in, and that's acceptable. I'm going to click Finish. We're not going to save the export step, so I'm going to close this. And then I'm going to minimize my Microsoft Access database, and I'm going to choose the file that we just created, which is this file right here. Open it, and click the Import button. Now, what we see now is we'll see the columns for the first record in that file that we just created. So the first record has a description, it has an additional description, a name, it has a price, an SKU number, a weight, in the same order that we've created the data in this particular file. So that way we can know exactly how to assign the fields over here. You'll notice that WP e-commerce, whoever wrote this drop-down, actually started with product name. That's the only thing that's out of order here. Everything else is in the correct order. So for the first one, we're going to select description. Second one is going to be additional description, and then we're going to choose product name, which is at the top, and then price, and SKU, weight, and then scrolling down, weight unit, stock quantity. And what they call stock quantity limit down here is actually exactly the same as is limited quantity. So why they did that, I don't know, but it's a trivial difference. Okay, and I'm going to click on import. Okay, so now we've imported the products. I'm going to go over to products and take a look and make sure they're really there. And yes, all the products that we just got out of the file are in fact really there. These are the products that we had in the product area before. They already had images in them. You'll notice all the new products, none of the new products have images. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to load those images manually, because in the WP e-commerce import function it does not allow you to load the images directly from your computer. So we're done with that, and we're going to show you in the next video how to load those images manually.